What, if any, communications did you have with Kate James following the Boston plane incident?
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, if we go to 224.
Okay, 224.
My argument would be business records exception.
All right, you want to come forward? We can do it.
What, if anything, did you do the evening of the 24th of May?
I reached out to friends and family, asked for support,
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
and surrounded myself with them with that.
What, if anything, did you do for Lily Rose's birthday?
That's why we had gone back to LA. Johnny was sick after having passed out on the plane.
Over that night, the next day, and at the hotel?
I cried a lot, tried to surround myself with my friends, and resolved to leave him. I felt powerless. Nothing I did made a difference. You know, on the plane, I was so careful.
Objection, non-responsive.
Please just tell us what you did, and you can tell how you feel, but don't go backwards, okay?
I resolved, tried to.
What, if any, communications did you have with Stephen Duders?
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, let me ask it this way. What, if any, communications did you have with Mr. Duders communicating on behalf of Mr. Depp?
Objection, hearsay.
I would say agency on that, Your Honor.
You have to lay a foundation for that.
Okay. All right, let's go to 229A. And could you, without saying what the content is, can you tell us who this text message is with?
Johnny's assistant.
What's his name?
His name is Stephen Duders.
Okay. And what, if any, communication were you having with him following the Boston plane incident?
Objection, hearsay. May we approach?
All right, Ms. Mills.
I'm going to ask you to turn now to 228.
Your Honor, we're going to object on hearsay.
First line, Your Honor,
Okay.
is all I understand in Your Honor's ruling, but I think.
All right. You're going to come forward. That's fine.
Did you communicate at all with Mr. Depp in the days following the Boston plane incident?
Yes, I did.
Please tell the jury about those communications.
I heard from him directly. I also heard from him through his assistants who were texting for him.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
You're not allowed to testify about the text messages with his assistant, but can you tell the jury about your communications with Mr. Depp?
Okay. It's kind of confusing because he was texting through them.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. I'll strike that from the record, and you'll disregard that
understand.
testimony. Please answer the question.
Just confine it to the communications you had with Mr. Depp, please.
That he was sorry and told me that he was in a blackout. He didn't remember everything, but what he did remember, he was ashamed of. He begged me to forgive him, said he understood and forgive me forgave me if I never wanted to speak to him again in New York, and I was trying to get my strength to leave him. I actually thought that it kind of would be the turning point. I thought I had effectively...
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Overruled. Oh, go.
Thank you. Go ahead, please continue.
I thought things would change.
Did you draft any kind of email to Mr. Depp to express your emotions and how you felt about all this?
Objection, hearsay.
Well, let's go, also lay the
Okay.
foundation, Your Honor. Let's go to defendants 239.
239.
Did you ultimately communicate to Mr. Depp what you first drafted up in an email without saying anything about what's in the email?
That calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
I'm just asking if she did.
No, what she said.
Correct.
Okay. Overruled.
Did you communicate to Mr. Depp what you had drafted in the email? And you don't get to say what you said.
Yes.
Okay. And what, if any, response did Mr. Depp have to your sending that email to him?
A nurse was flown out to Boston, Debbie Lloyd, and I believe Kipper came out too, and they put Johnny on a bunch of new medications, which they shared with me, told me about.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Well, we have to be careful about what other people told you, okay? But you can testify to what you know, okay? So what happened then?
So he was going to be maintained with his with prescription pills, including the painkillers, and the plan was he would obviously abstain from alcohol completely and all other drugs like weed and coke. And then when he finished filming, the plan was to do
Objection,
the full
Your Honor,
detox.
hearsay. And lack of foundation.
I don't understand what the objection, I don't think it is. I think she was just explaining the context there. I don't think she was saying
We
what
could lay
somebody
a foundation how she knew, but it's fine.
How did you know that?
I was involved in the conversations
Okay. Please
with the
continue.
doctors and with his sister.
Objection,
And
Your Honor,
nurse.
that's still hearsay.
All right, I'll
Okay,
sustain the
that-
objection.
That part is. So what happened next? As a result of these communications without saying what the communications were?
A nurse came to Boston where Johnny was. I just would come for short periods of time in between, on weekends from filming until I wrapped my movie, which I did, I think in May, if I am not mistaken. And then I went to Boston and I was there and saw a nurse was flown out to Boston, Debbie Lloyd, and I believe
Encourage
Kipper
him.
came out. I was trying to remind him how much he wanted that, how much he had told me he wanted that, how much I was reminding him, he told me all the time I saved his life and he wouldn't be doing this without me. And I was telling him these things, and at one point in our conversations, I told him about how...
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Please try to continue without what you said, please.
I said something to him, and the doctors and nurses didn't tell me not to. I had no idea what that was going to look like or be like, and it was hell. We're on an island. I'm trying to take care of him, and he was hallucinating and
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Overruled.
screaming at me for things that I said when I didn't say any. I hadn't said anything. I would tell him, Johnny,
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Well, I think in the context, Your Honor, it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted.
What's it for?
It's just telling the context of,
I'll sustain the objection. Thank you.
please continue and just say what he says and what he did and what your observations were. Having to help participate with the detox or to be on the island or anything along that line.
Objection, form, compound.
I'll allow it, but just for the, trying to keep the record clear, 272 has already been entered into evidence without that redactions, and there wasn't any objection. So I would wish, if I could have both sides to keep track of their evidence. It's not my job to keep this.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just got a note to that effect, so.
Okay, so 272 is an evidence without, you can clear the redaction and publish it. It's really the party's responsibility to take care of the record, not mine.
My apologies on that one, Your Honor. All right.
All right, and I overruled the objection, so she can answer the question.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, can you remind me what the question was?
Yes,
That's fair.
that's fair. What, if anything, did Mr. Depp say about that you were torturing him on the island and he didn't want you there?
Very confusing for me to hear that.
Michelle, can you bring up 310, please? Defendants 310. Did you have communications with Mr. Depp about auditioning for another role in this time frame?
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to object to the exhibit as hearsay.
It's not work anymore, which if you don't know me, is preposterous. There's no way I would agree to that. Although I did make concessions and gave up a lot of
Objection,
these
Your Honor.
fights.
Hearsay.
Time frame.
Well, I bargained with him about me doing the role. He told me he would call the actors. It was a mostly male cast. But I bargained with him.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Don't say what you said, just say what he said, okay?
He reluctantly kind of agreed to me working on this movie or taking a job. He was filming a different movie in London at the time. That travel companion would keep tabs on me and report to Dr. Kipper, who reported everything to Johnny.
Objection, hearsay. Calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. So tell us about the couple's
That text?
No, thank you, Your
Okay,
Honor.
if we can get that redacted.
And while that's being redacted, Amber, let me ask you, what, if anything was Mr. Depp saying to you in this time frame, we're talking in November 2014, about you not working anymore or not taking on any more work or auditioning?
Objection, Your Honor. Compound.
They're all the
I'm
same
reading.
subset.
Overruled, I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Johnny was angry with me.
Thank you. So this is from Mr. Depp, right? Says, it's a way, I've let it go too far, went too far. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
I always regret it when I jump, or worse, when you jump. I don't want to be conditioned to continue that behavior. Therefore, I'll put in heavy work with shrink. What is your understanding of what he's referring to with shrink?
Psychologist.
Objection calls for speculation.
Did you have an understanding? And this is an email exchange the following day, 12/18/2014, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd move the admission of defendants 325. It's already in, oh, it's already in, Your Honor. My apologies. We'll get that figured out at lunch.
With what redaction?
It's already in,
It's
so.
been in evidence. Does anybody over there have the list of evidence that's already in evidence?
Yes.
Okay, we're making sure.
Ours indicates it is. It's in.
It's in evidence.
Without redactions, Your Honor.
It was redacted. I don't know what it was redacted to.
The redactions don't.
That's how it is in evidence, Mr. Murphy? We can check, we'll check our copy.
Thank you. It's fine, Your Honor. We've confirmed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Referring to the last two blue spots on that page, with the state of mind. Mental condition.
All right.
It doesn't, it's still hearsay, Your Honor. May we approach?
Yeah, you want to approach? I just want-
It's my coping strategy at the time.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to take a look at defendants 204. Did you reach out to,
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay and leading.
Your Honor, I would direct Your Honor's attention to the first one in blue and the third one in blue. Text your mother and your father about this incident.
Objection, hearsay.
If you want to,
What, if any, communication did you have with your mother or your father following this incident?
Objection, hearsay.
sustain that objection.
Let's go to defendants 222, and Your Honor, I suspect we're going to be back up at the
All right, you want
bench
to
on
keep on
this one.
approach? That's fine. Thank you.
What she thought.
But that last part called for speculation. I'll sustain the
Don't
objection.
say, I knew. Why did you tape record?
In my experience, when Johnny was that inebriated, he would not remember what he had done.
Calls for speculation.
How can that call for speculation?
I'll sustain the objection.
All right, let's go to defendants 221. Tape record him.
Because I knew that Johnny wouldn't remember what he had done. I knew he would not remember. And if
Calls for speculation.
She can say why she did it and what she thought.
But that last part called for speculation. I'll sustain the
Don't
objection.
say, I knew. Why did you tape record?
in my experience, when Johnny was that inebriated,
Just looked out of the window. And Jerry Judge's security and my friend both kind of under their breath asked me, "Are you okay?"
Objection, hearsay.
I spent the rest of the time looking out
I'll
of the
sustain the
window.
objection.
and he continued to drink, and then eventually started howling like an animal and passed out in the bathroom with the door locked, and was howling. And I at some point pushed record on my phone because there was that 5% part of me.
Objection, non-responsive.
I don't think it's non-responsive. She's explaining what led up to her tape recording him and why. I mean, I can ask her,
Okay.
will that solve it?
All right.
Why did you tape record him?
Because I knew that Johnny wouldn't remember what he had done. I knew he would not remember.